Hello, welcome to the 23rd day of August 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a live video exercise that I do every morning just around 5:30 a.m. to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with noteworthy challenges that I faced, noteworthy where I either faced them well or faced them poorly, or engaged them is the better word, well or poorly. I'm interested to know where I'm doing well and poorly in life, the outer edges. The stuff in between isn't such a concern for me. It means that that's the stuff that where I'm tuned. It's the stuff where I need more tuning that I'm interested in. So I use this time. That's the bulk of this exercise. It's the main reason I do this, to remember my creed, my values, and then tune my engagement in life to better align with those values. It's a very important process. That's what this is about. So welcome to the video. If you're a new subscriber, and there sure are a lot of you, hey, my name is Kurt. I'm a 61-year-old American, retired here in Japan with my Japanese wife. We have a grown daughter, and she lives up in Tokyo. And this video is something that I do, like I said before, as my journal entry. I didn't say that before, but that's what it basically is. It's my live journal. You're welcome to watch and leave comments or criticism as you see fit. And I will read and respond to comments when I'm all done. With that, I do want to give you a little caution that I sometimes talk about stuff that makes people uncomfortable. I do talk about death every day, so that's reliable. I also talk about other things too that might make people a little squeamish or unsettled, so just be warned. But keep in mind, this is my personal journal, so I can talk about anything I want, so there's no latitude there. I typically avoid cursing. To me, it's a bad use of my time. You know, it's cheap. It's a cheap form of gaining attention, so to speak. Cheap, and it's also lazy speaking. So you're not likely to hear me curse, although I think I did use a four-letter word yesterday. You're not likely to hear me curse, but you are likely to hear me talk about death, which I would think would be more of a sober subject than a four-letter word. Well, with that, let's get started. Oh, did I say, wait, hold on. Did I say thank you for my supporters? Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for my members on YouTube. And thank you for my supporters on Patreon. I greatly appreciate your support. Oh, by the way, if you are a member on YouTube or a supporter on Patreon, the codes that you have for making purchases in my YouTube store will now allow you to buy snacks at your discounts, because I've added all the snacks from eBay over onto the Fourth Wall store, so you can now buy those things free shipping using your codes. But enough of a commercial there. Let's start. So, temperature check and humidity. It is just past, closing in on 5:35 maybe a.m. It's 24 degrees, 5:35 a.m., 24 degrees, and I would call that 85% humidity. Let's see what it was at this time yesterday. I think it was 25 and 85. Yeah, it was 25 and 85. So it's down a degree since yesterday, but it's going to be overall, today's going to be 3 degrees hotter. So I'm bracing myself. I know what's coming. I'm going to feel like crap. Excuse me, that's not quite a nasty four-letter word, but I'm going to feel like crap in about an hour and a half. As soon as the sun comes over that top of that mountain and starts to heat up, my well-being is going to diminish. But I'm armed with that knowledge. I know that that's not due to my overall, it's not that I'm sick, it's just that I don't suffer the heat and humidity here in Japan so well. I never did, and I still don't. And I'm ready to brace myself for that, because I forget sometimes. I get to 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. or even worse, 1 or 2 p.m. and I feel so awful, and I tell myself there must be something wrong with me. I must be sick. I'm getting old. I'm gonna die. Do I need to see a doctor? Hey, Kurt, few hours from now, you're just fine. You're just not handling the heat very well. That's all. Live with it. Okay, let's get to the main part of this. So the review of the last 24 hours, and I have 3 notes here. One was that it says, pleasurable interview. That's what that word is, pleasurable. Pleasurable interview. The second item says, a solid day of work. And the third item says, a dull distraction, and in parentheses, welcome. So let's wrap all 3 of those into one explanatory segment. Yesterday I had my first job interview. Oh, by the way, did I not mention that I'm retired? I've been retired. I'm going on 8 months retired. But yesterday I had my a real IT industry interview yesterday, and it was fantastic. I don't think I have a chance in hell of getting the job. I think that my skills aren't quite the right match for that particular position. I don't. I know that the industry is rife with layoffs, which means that lots of people clamoring at the door to get these jobs. So I'm up against the younger, faster, more hungry people, so to speak. And actually probably people who need it more. So kudos to them. I was just. I mean, I'm not taking these jobs. I didn't take that interview just to take the interview. I didn't take it to fill time for myself or distract myself. It wasn't that. I was serious about it. If I get pushed onto a second interview or even get the job, I'll take it and I'll engage it, and I won't be for just a while. I mean, if I do this, I'll do it for a couple of years. Even if after 6 months I feel like I make my way through this retirement maze, I'll still do it because I'm that kind of guy. I'm not the kind of guy to waste other people's times, especially employers, right? So we'll see what happens. I really enjoyed that experience. That was the first bit of true professionalism I felt in a long time. Although during the interview, and I did record part of the interview and uploaded it as a standalone thing. It's about a 3-minute segment of me being interviewed, and I also included it in today's upload of Retiring in Japan, which is the other daily video besides this video that I do every day. My skills are kind of weak and old. I mean, the words didn't come to me in the interview, answering the interviewer's questions, and the interview was fantastic. Just, rock solid questions, building one upon another. I really did. I thoroughly enjoyed the interview. I wish I'd dressed up a little bit. I didn't realize it would be a camera on interview. I don't know why I made that assumption. Silly assumption. So, but putting all that aside, I completed the day feeling absolutely terrific because of the interview and because I had a good day of work. I listed an antique item and I listed an inventory item, and actually got some feedback from it was actually a Japanese food wrap is what I listed, and it was Yumiko's idea. She's the one that came up with that. She said, Kurt, maybe add to your store, because I added trash bags of all things, and Japanese style trash bags, which are different. They're very good. It's like someone once said, the Japanese are just like everybody else, but more so. They just do everything kind of like at another level. Even trash bags. I mean, their trash bags here are just the way when you pull them out of the thing to put another one in your trash bin, it feels right. In the way they fold, the way they wrap, the way they tie, the way they look, the way they feel, the way they're translucent, so you can kind of see what's going on in there, And so I listed that 2 weeks ago, and then Yumiko, because I wanted to start to round out the houseware section of my online store, and Yumiko said, well, why don't you add wrap? And I remembered, food wrap, right? You pull the thing out and you're going to wrap up the leftovers, right? And I remember her telling me over and over again between Japan and America about how in America you get Reynolds wrap or Saran wrap, and you got this giant thing and you pull it out and you try to cut the thing and it ragged edge and it doesn't come out quite right. Whereas in Japan, these things, again, it's like the trash bags. The way you open the box, it's like a team of rocket scientists had spent 5 years on a mission to figure out how to open the lid just right, and so that the wrap comes out and it's just got just the right amount of clinginess to hold on to the roll, but come away easy. And then something about the blades on the wrap thing is like, it's like designed by a, you know, a 12th generation Kyoto samurai sword maker, right, in his family, who engineered the thing to be, you know, slice. You pull at the wrap and it just slides right off. It's another level. So she said, why don't you list that stuff? So I listed it yesterday, and I got feedback almost immediately. An email from someone who telling me abroad that his Japanese wife had her eye on both my trash bags and my wrap during the dog walk. The only reason she didn't buy it right away is that she's making a trip to Japan soon, where she can pick it up herself. But and we went for a dog walk, and I told you, Nico, I said, we're onto something here. You know, these Japanese everyday housewares that you just, you know, they're just on another level, you know, adding those to our store. So there you go. I listed that. I felt great about that. And then getting that reinforcement just, you know, put it over the edge. And then to have an interview that I think went, if I give myself a ranking, I've always done good. I've always been good, giving good interview. I would give myself, that was the worst IT rank. That was the worst IT interview I've had in a long time, largely because I'm out of practice. My skills are a little bit faltered, and I've been retired 8 months, and I think I've aged 2 years in the last 8 months, and I don't mean that jokingly. Retirement has begun the aging process in earnest up here, and my cognitive faculties have really begun to diminish. Another reason why I want to work, right? I want to hold on to that. And no hobbies. Evelyn, if you see this, I love your shirt. Evelyn sent me a message in Facebook yesterday. She left a comment saying that Yumiko makes my shirts. This is actually not a shirt that she made for me, but most of the time when I'm standing out here, the shirt that I'm wearing is made by my wife. She's very good at making shirts. And Evelyn suggested that Yumiko make a shirt, said something like, no hobbies for this guy. You can take your friggin' hobbies and keep them. I don't want thank you, Evelyn. And thank you, Evelyn, for, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, everybody wants to be understood, right? Like, you know, like someone who gets you, right? And so often being a content creator, speaking to, I don't have a huge audience, but I have a broad enough audience that I get feedback from every quarter, and I'm so used to not being understood. You know, one of my favorite professors in university told me something so memorable. He said, the message sent is never the message received. And I'm used to that now. I've been doing this for so long that I'll make a video like this and I'll get feedback in 5 different quarters, email, Discord, comments, wherever, telling me things that are really, because what people are doing when they're providing answers, this has been very liberating when I finally realized this, when people are commenting on my videos and or criticizing, what they're really doing is revealing what's going on in their life, what's in their mind. They're telling more about themselves than anything about me, because most of the time they don't get me. You know, I know where I'm coming from, and they're basically talking to a straw man. And this other guy that they projected in their mind of who I am, and I'm not that. And guess what? That guy looks like them. So that's why people, when they, because trolls show up sometimes, and they'll say me all kinds of nasty things, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me really anymore. Genuinely, I'm not saying that it's like I'm trying to say like I've built up a wall. It's not because I built up a wall, because I know they're talking to themselves, right? I mean, they're telling me nasty stuff, but they're really talking at the mirror that's beside me, that's reflecting the man or woman that they are, that they maybe don't want to be, or they're not pleased with, but they're pointing it at me, but it's just reflecting right back on them. So that's a long way to saying, every now and then there's people out there that really do say stuff that really reveals that they get me, and Evelyn, you're one of them. And your comment really nailed the point when you said, you know, no hobbies for this guy. I'm going to ask Yumiko if she'll make that shirt for me, because she's starting to ramp up her idea for her business, for her t-shirt business. And I want to get her a shirt that says that, you know, no hobbies for this guy, because I don't want any hobbies. I'm not interested in a hobby. I may take up fishing. And you might say, well, later, Later, well, I thought you said no hobbies. Well, I reserve the right to change my mind. But in principle, I'm not interested in hobbies. Thank you, no thank you very much. What I am interested in is the good utility and use of time. Hobbies to me are not good uses of time. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't want to play a video game. I don't want to go fishing. I don't want to join a club. I don't want to be involved in, I don't want to do puzzles. I don't want to watch friggin' things on Netflix for the most part. What do I want to do? Well, what I want to do is this, right? Everything that's related to this. This is what I want to do. And Evelyn clearly gets that. Thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate that. It's nice once in a while when someone actually says something and I realize, hey, the message sent actually, hey, Professor Losi, the message sent sometimes is the message received. Thank you, Evelyn. It really made my day, made my morning. So back to these things. Pleasurable interview, solid day of work, dull distraction was and then welcome. I really enjoyed it. Yesterday was a full and solid day of distraction. I did spend a little bit of time, and I do this, and I think we all do, but I did spend a little time in the midst of it all, namely while we were racing about doing some chores, and Yumiko was wandering around the supermarket picking up stuff. I kind of like, it's like if you have in your brain is like a railroad car going along, and there's like, pull the thing and it switches the track and off to the siding, and the railroad tracks go down the siding for a while. And I was spending a little time down the siding thinking about how I can leverage this into a better use of my time more throughout the day. For example, doing this video right here is the high point of my day. It is the time of day. This half hour or 45 minutes is the moment each day. It's this segment of time each day when I am fulfilling the mission in going along, and not engaged in any damn hobby. So I was thinking about how I could do that. And I had some ideas, and I tried some ideas out. None of them fit quite. So I wound up in a job interview. I'm hoping that I get a call back. Good day yesterday. Good day. It was a good Friday. Let's go over the creed now. My 8 objectives you can read in the book, in the chapter titled The Good Life, consist of, number 1, being always ready to die, having my affairs in good order, my relationships in good shape, and my life's work, if not complete, at least my notes are organized. And they all are. I'm ready to die. So that's good. Being ready to die every day is the best resolution of purpose that I know. It means that I've tuned my life to the point where I've got my work behind me mostly. It doesn't mean that I'm ready for Netflix or fishing. It simply means that, I'm going to turn back to the hard work of life, and I'm going to roll up my sleeves and say, let's get busy. But if the doctor pulls me in and says, you got 6 months to live, Kurt, well, so be it. And I'm going to ask the doctor, I'm going to say, is it going to be painful? Is it going to be expensive? Is it going to be a mess? Am I going to put my family through hell? Then, and if the doctor says yes, then I'm going to try to think about how I can speed that process up, get the hell out of here sooner, so that I don't have to put my family and myself and my finances through that friggin' ringer, right? Sensitive subject. Nobody wants to talk about that. I do. It's very interesting to me. Very interesting to me, because it's going to happen most likely. And of course, I don't superimpose my ideas and my schemes upon anyone else. Leave that up to them. If my wife falls down first, then I will abide whatever it is that eases her into that good night with the least amount of pain, whatever that course might be, however it may look, without ever imposing any of my ideas or inclinations onto her paradigm. Likewise, my daughter. Likewise, anybody else in my life. Right? But if it's me, then I'm going to, as much as I can, take an active role in my own journey to death. So talked a lot about readiness for death. Yeah, I'm ready for death, I think, to the best of my ability. We'll see if I sing such a sober, confident tone when the doctor gives me that, if and when the doctor gives me that prognosis. I thought, for example, I mean, I'm very, very well practiced at failure. You know, I thought, for example, that I was ready for retirement. In fact, turns out I wasn't. Turns out I'm an awful retiree. I get a solid F grade at freedom and retirement. I suck at being free. And no, I don't want a hobby. Thank you very much. Picking up on a hobby in retirement would would be worse than going back to work. So, number two, that was just number one. The second objective is to make good and effective use of my time, like I did yesterday. Ooh, what a great day yesterday was. I worked hard, had a job interview. I made a nice harvest from the garden. I didn't tell you about that. I brought back some beautiful eggplants, some green peppers, and I gotta tell you, I don't know what the heck is going on out in that garden, but you know, and I hope I'm not sounding like bragging, but this is my own journal, so I can talk about anyone. I can do like, Dear Diary, I have been blessed, my wife and I, with the most abundant and prolific and rich garden ever seen that seems to be immune from pests. We have this garden back there on this rich 75-year-old abandoned farmland, that this dark, rich soil that seems to just sprout whatever we plant there. You don't even have to just ignore it. There's just enough rain that comes and seems to water it, and then it pops up, and then it's just vegetables all over the place, and there's no pests. You know, people complain about, you know, monkeys or boar or other things coming in and nibbling their pests. Never happens. You know, I go out there, our stuff is just sitting there, and nobody eats it. Insects don't seem to bother the plants. I don't know what's going on. It's just, I think it's because, and I think I know the reason. That's not a mystery. Our little bit of land here, our garden back here, is a little tiny wilderness that is hemmed in by residences on all sides, and then a big river with a stone embankment, so no big animals can get in, right? There's no way. Our garden is like on a little island, and surrounded by civilization here. And then, I'm sure the tanuki come through. I see the tanuki come through, but I guess they don't like our veggies, or they haven't found them yet. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent to say, but I wanted to say that yesterday I was all so productive because I came back with, you know, big handfuls of veggies, delivered them to my wife, and she used them in preparation of our dinner. I had a job interview. Made 2 listings on eBay. Spent time with my father-in-law. Spent good time with my wife, having a good time. She was in a very good mood, feeling very good yesterday. Sometimes the heat gets to her. Somehow she came through the other side yesterday feeling very good. So we had nice conversations. It was a very good day. So, good use of time. That's in principle. That's objective number 2. The good use of time. Yesterday was a very good use of time. So far, number 1 and number 2, check. Number 3. Third objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, which I did when I wrote my book, because I got them all in there and I've been working on them ever since, and they seem to hold up. Number 4th objective is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become someone who responds well when things go south. And for the most part, I do. It's really, really rare that anything can ambush me by my surprise. You won't hear. It's really hard to hear, even when I stub my toe. You know, it's like, ooh, yeah, wow. Ow, there you go. Reason seems to, and temperance seem to take hold and hold down the emotions. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I've mastered my emotions. I'm just saying my circumstances are going to have to get up pretty early in the morning to take me by surprise anymore. It's not that they don't. They do sometimes, because of my hard work I've done over the years to, 1, codify, and 2, live out objective number 4, the cultivation of good emotional reactions, which is a hugely important objective for me. Number 5 is to perform good actions relative to my values, which is piecemeal throughout the day. 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, so I know what is and what is not within my reach, so I don't worry about myself or fret myself or fuss about the things that are beyond me. And number 7 is to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, just as I'm speaking and acting and behaving right now. Number 8 is to maintain or achieve a state of balance in both body and mind, which comes as a consequence of attending to the first 7. Now let's read a principle. I think I'm going to read principle number 3 today in the book. Yesterday we started off with principle, 2 days ago with principle number 1. See, I read all the 35 principles, one a day, and then I cycle back around and go to the start. And I finished 35 3 days ago, the 35th principle. Now I'm back to principle number 1. These are all codified in the chapter titled The Good Life with art illustrations by my daughter Emily. Principle number 1 is war. Principle number 2 is reason. And principle number 3 then is the homunculus. A funny name. Funny word. Homunculus is the word that used, if you look it up, you'll find some interesting pictures. It's a word to describe the concept of a little person inside your head, a little man or a woman inside the man or the woman that is, either encapsulates the idea of a soul or consciousness or something like that. I use the idea of a homunculus to remind myself that I don't think we have a soul. I don't believe in such a thing. I think that this thing that is our essence, our us, is nothing more than the emergent quality of biochemical reactions occurring within the nervous brain and the nervous system, supported by the biological apparatus of our bodies, sustained by the environment at large. That's all there is to this. I don't think that there's anything wooey or mystical or supernatural about us, and certainly nothing about us will survive. Nothing about ourselves, our personhood, will survive beyond our death, which is why I bring such immediacy to my treatment of every day. It's another reason why I'm not interested in your damn hobbies, because I haven't got time to waste with knitting or fishing or playing video games. I'm sure those things are fine, right? For others that want to do that, you can have those. I would rather use my time, hashtag good use of time, apprehending the universe at large to try to better understand, or at least formulate models in my mind about what the hell this all is. Because I don't think I have any time. I won't get an eternity in either heaven or hell after this to ponder the issue. This is all I get, and I don't have much time left. I've got, maybe, because I said, my brain is going away fast. I got another couple of years, another couple of good summers to think. And after that, I'm going to devolve down into telling old stories to my daughter over and over again that she's going to get bored with until I die. So the homunculus is that little man. I used that, added it to the book to remind me that I don't have a soul, and to remind me that my consciousness is part and parcel of the overall apparatus of my body. Nothing about me that's me will survive my death. Let's read the homunculus. It's not very long, it's one paragraph. This is the small, mute, and hidden man within my head, the imaginary mortal who seemingly pulls my levers and strings and hints at my opinions and judgments, and who must die utterly upon the failure and dissolution of my person. The homunculus is as imaginary as a soul, though a much better vehicle to remind myself that consciousness is nothing more than another organ of my body, serving a particular function, and is subject to corruption and death in the end as my spleen, liver, or any other bodily organ. My homunculus will wink out the moment that my consciousness falters, as a heart attack strikes, and I begin to keel over. Big old bird flying down there. And I begin to keel over onto the ground, and consciousness winks out. The homunculus is gone. My consciousness is gone. Kurt is erased, turned off, and I fall down, and if I'm picked up, they'll incinerate me at the incinerator down the road, and that'll be the end of my body, my mind, my personhood. Everything will be gone. Oblivion awaits. All right, and if you believe that, then there's a lot of urgency to life. There's no time to waste, right? As I do believe it. All right, now as for the next 24 hours, it's a Saturday, so I still haven't quite resolved what I'm doing with myself on Saturday. I'm taking my wife out for breakfast. That's one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take Yumiko out for breakfast this morning to celebrate. We had a huge financial windfall this week. So I've got, really big. I've got probably between all my channels, close to 10,000 videos on YouTube covering lots of different subjects. And I get, pretty regularly contacted by television studios in America, although all around the world actually, but mostly in America, asking to use clips and segments from my videos, right? Because usually they're doing something about Japan and they find my clip and that's perfect, let's add that. And they contact me and they want to use it. And so I'm practiced at this. I know how to sell my videos. Anyway, I did things a little bit different this time. In the age of AI, I was contacted by a studio about 2 months ago, and they wanted to use a clip. And what I did was I gave the job to, I created an artificial chat GPT, custom GPT that, and I trained it. You can train these things, right? You can spin up one. It's like you can whoop, and there's an AI, right, standing there nice and crisp, and you can say, okay. I want you to work with me on a particular job, and you can do these things. You can hold on to them for weeks and months and years. I've got a couple of AIs that I've been running since 2000, custom GPTs that I've been running since 2013 for 2 years now. It's hard to believe. 2023, that is, for 2 years. Anyway, so I spun up an AI. I said, I want you to be my television film crew, gopher, um, intern. I said, I'll go out into the internet and research. Here's the email that I got from this television studio. They want to use some of my clip. I want you to go out into the internet and research what the going rate is for these. Figure out how this works by professionals, because I never knew in the past. I would say, okay, just give me $500, right? You use as much as you want. Just give me $500. And they would always, yeah, sure, here's $500. And I'd send them the clip and they'd give me $500. So I came back, gave the AI that task, and you can give the task and you can go off and do something else. And I came back later and I asked it to give me an executive summary. And I was blown away by what it said. The AI said, okay, well, I did all kinds of research. I found all kinds of examples. Here's kind of what it goes. Here's the going rate. Here's how you should structure the ask. And here's how much money I think you should ask. And it was a ridiculous amount of money. And I was like, well, that's a stupid amount of money. There's no way anybody's going to say yes to that. So I thought, well, what the hell? I'm going to give it a try. So I said, okay, AI, write me a letter, write me an email to send back to these people, basically offering them to use my footage, under these terms. And I didn't change it. I just said, we're going to run with it. AI wrote me an email. I grabbed that email. I hit the reply button on the email, pasted it in, proofread it one time, sent it back, got an email back the next day. From them, sounds great. Yep, we agree to your terms. All these years, I've been lowballing these film studios, these television studios. They must have been chuckling behind their things like, this guy's, he wants $500 to let us use his clips. All these years. So yesterday I got paid. Money appeared in the bank account. Extraordinary sum of money. So, why am I telling you this? Well, I'm going to be treating the family. I always try to use the largesse of these online world, all the stuff that I do to improve the life of everyone around me, right? So I'm taking Yumiko out for breakfast this morning, and I'm going to take the family out for a nice barbecue steak dinner for the whole extended family or something like that. Just kind of like doing this. But the main use of the money isn't on frivolous stuff. The main use, if you follow these videos, is that even though I'm retired and we have money coming in that supports us, we have a financial burden, which is that I'm still paying the college debt for my daughter's college education. I didn't save enough money for her college fund, And I wound up taking I didn't take a college loan, I took out a personal loan at a pretty high interest rate to basically cover my daughter's debt. Now, so I'm in the position now where I don't have enough money from retirement coming in to pay to support the family and service my daughter's debt. So, so I could pull more money from retirement to do that, but that doesn't seem like a good thing to do. So I'm trying to avoid doing that. So I started the business, I'm looking for a job, I'm doing all these things, kind of to try to do this, but this big influx of money is going to just put it aside, and I'm going to use that to continue paying my daughter's debt. I'll be in a good shape by summer 2026. We'll be in very good shape then. I won't have to worry about servicing my daughter's debt anymore. It's my debt that I used to pay my daughter's college, so it's my debt. This is going to help. This big chunk of money from the television studio, I'm basically going to set that aside, and that buys me some time. I don't have to think about that for a while. So thank you, universe at large. All right, so enough of that. Let's read comments. Hi, Robert. Robert's chiming in with temperature 28°C and 46 humidity and air quality of 32 in Napanee, Ontario. 28 and 46 seems pretty nice. Tim says, good morning. In England, the weather check is at 9:38 p.m., 16.9 C and 65%. Chilly. Pleasant day, but you're at nighttime over there. I guess you're going to need a blanket at night, huh, Tim? Robert says hi to Tim. Julie BBB, it's good to see you again. Hi, it's 71 Fahrenheit here, and it finally warmed up after the coolest July on record. Wow, 71 feet, that's 71 Fahrenheit, that's nice. Tim says hi to Robert. Iceberg, haven't seen you for a long while. Good to see you again. Hello to you. Robert says hi to Julie BBB and Iceberg. Iceberg, I think I remember you from the old days. Julie BBB says hi to Robert, aka Believe in Yourself. Julie BBB says, we actually had a Japanese houseware store open up here recently. I better check it out. Yeah, go check it out. Check out the cling wrap. Iceberg says, how will you handle your web shop plus a full-time job? It won't be a full-time job. Sorry, I'm answering the question. How will you handle your web shop plus a full-time job at the same time? Wouldn't it be better to use of time to enjoy retirement and, for example, just travel around Japan? Well, the job, I'm looking for a part-time job, so which is another reason why I'm not likely to get a job, because a lot of the jobs that I'm aiming for probably want someone full-time. I'm not hearing back. I've applied for several jobs at language schools here in Japan, and they're not responding to me because I say, hey, I'm looking for part-time work. And no, I just don't want to travel around Japan. I'm just not interested in travel, and I'm not interested in free time. I'm not interested in leisure. Yeah, no, thank you. Evelyn says, smiling. But Iceberg, I appreciate your suggestion, right? It's just that none of those things, at least at this point in life, are of interest to me. I just want to work. And so if I do get a job, it'll be a part-time job, and I'll run my web shop on the side, or I'll shut it down, right? Nice thing about online stores is there's a little checkbox that you can say, stop, and the whole store shuts down. So if I get a really good job that they demand a lot of my time, I'll just go stop the store. Evelyn, I said hello to Evelyn there. I like the smile there. Robert says, Kurt, I have found that performing any task you set for yourself in a way you can take pride in and celebrating each one completed helps with personal morale and seem to melt stress away. Sounds good, Robert. Robert says hi to Evelyn. Julie BVB says, maybe I'm confused about your definition of hobby versus useful activity. Well, hobby is this is just my own personal definition. Hobby is anything that is used as a distraction to enjoy life, to while away the hours, to have a pleasant use of the day. I don't want distraction, or to while away the hours, or to have a pleasant use of the day. So and that's just me. So others can enjoy hobbies all they want. Dan, hi Dan, says hi to Robert. Iceberg says, well, I see the merit of work and being busy as it gives one's life purpose. I'm confused why somebody would willingly get back into the soul-crushing grind for a faceless corporation which is only interested in making profit instead of pursuing some hobbies. Yeah, me too. I wonder the same thing, but there I am. I'm eager to get back to it. Although, bear in mind, I don't want to work full time. I want to work part time, so half a day. Right? So, I don't. I'm hoping to protect myself from that grind. Also, being now relieved, being retired, financially free of being able to support myself, will allow me to pick and choose something that probably won't. I don't want to take something that's going to be as crushing as it used to be. Robert says hi to Dan. I just don't want to be free. Sarah says hi, good morning. Iceberg says, wish I could drop by more often for the live streams, but for me, it's almost midnight. Got it. Well, I'm glad you can come by when you can. Robert says hi to Sarah. Tim says, I guess a hobby is a form of self-gratification. I guess. Sarah says hi to Robert. And we've reached the end. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to stop for now. The sun is just peeking over the horizon. It's going to start heating up soon, and I'm going to start feeling like crap. So, but before all of that, I'm going to wrap up a few things, head up to do a radio exercise, and then start my day. I'm going to take my wife out to a really nice breakfast. We're going to enjoy ourselves. I'm going to buy her breakfast courtesy of a Hollywood film and Hollywood television industry. And one last check of temperature. It's 25 degrees. It's only gone up a degree since I started, and 85% humidity. So very little change in the last hour. Any last comments? I can see where we are different. I love unstructured time. Yeah, most people seem to enjoy that. I'm getting a lot of feedback from people who are telling me that they're really enjoying their retirement, that they really enjoy unstructured time, and that it works well for them. I kind of a little bit envious. I kind of wish I was like that too. Seems like I'm not blessed with that capacity. Tim says, have a great day. Stay cool, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Bye-bye.